Hey, everybody. It's Dr. Linda Goggin. You can call me Sunny. This morning, I wanted to continue my series, Free Tools for You Guys, so that you can do self-healing. And last Friday, I talked about healing your gut and so how you might start to go about healing your gut, because in functional medicine, healing the gut is a really big thing that we do. Like it's that first step. And so below, if you're looking for advice and help on healing the gut, you can go to a free course, and it's the links below. You have to use that coupon code. So look in the description, and you're going to find the link. I've been doing much thinking these days about how to get people better, and how many times it seems like people are spinning their wheels and trying everything, yet not able to make that forward movement. And how can we get people to better faster? I think that's the goal. Every person who's in the healthcare practice wants. We really want that. And I came across this very interesting video. And in this video on YouTube, there's a MIT educated neurosurgeon. So he was in practice as a neurosurgeon. And to be a neurosurgeon, guys, you got to jump through a lot of hoops, right? I thought it was a lot of hoops to become a family doctor, right? But after medical school, which is 4 years, then you go to residency. And as a family doctor, my residency was 3 years, and then I was able to go into practice. Well, neurosurgeon, because it's like a 6-year residency. And so he went through all that and then got into neurosurgery and was very interested in the brain. And at first was going to be a brain surgeon. And then he found out that what he really wanted to do, he wasn't able, he didn't see a way that technology was going to be able to really get computer brain interfaces going. And that was his interest. So he said, well, okay, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. So he learned a lot of complex spine surgery, basically helping people who had pinched nerves, back pain, neck pain. And there are some very specific surgeries you do for these things. And I just want to play a little bit of his video and have a bit of commentary, because basically, here's the jumping to the chase. What he realized is that there were some people who got better, and there were some people who didn't, and it was less dependent on the surgery that he did and more dependent on other things. And he became really, he became basically bummed out, sad, and feeling like the oath that we took as doctors, we took the Hippocratic oath to do no harm. That maybe when we're doing a lot of surgery, it's unclear, and there's sort of a moral, ethical crisis. And so I just want to play a little bit of this video, because I think it is profound. Let me share my sound with you guys. You can find this YouTube video, but here we go. This guy, he's talking about it right now.
That's what I understood of what it means to be a good doctor. And I had learned all these fancy spine surgery techniques to do all this incredible surgery work through tiny cuts. It's called minimally invasive spine surgery. It's the latest technology. We use navigation like a GPS inside the
I'm playing it fast because he talks kind of slow. So
operating room, like all the latest techniques. I learned, and I learned how to do well, and I did them, and I helped a lot of people out. But there were way more people that I couldn't help, and that's because surgery, like if someone's got what's called degenerative spine, that means their spine degenerated, it wore out. It could be a bulging disc pinching a nerve, or a disc is just worn out and bones are rubbing on each other, or there's a loose joint and the joint is banging on nerves, causing pain. I can do surgery to cut out like a bulging disc to remove something and make more room for a nerve, or I could do a surgery where I put titanium screws and rods into the spine and lock it down and remove motion. And it's all removing things. The only thing that was adding things was putting in a little electrode to block pain signals if there was nothing else you could do. But those were the tools I had. I learned to use them really well. Mm-hmm. But what I realized later on is that those aren't fixing the problem. There's so many people with back problems, neck pain, back pain, nerve pain down their arms and legs. Surgery might make them better for a little bit, but it didn't address what caused that disc to wear out, or the disc to bulge, or the joint to get loose, or the disc in between the bones to just disappear, and then the bones are rubbing on each other. Those surgeries, they don't address that. So what I was doing, was there's a lot of mosquitoes.
Where is he? He's somewhere in a beautiful place in the mountains. So he escaped to the mountains. He ended up quitting his job and going to the mountains, which I think is incredible.
So what I was doing was I was doing the surgeries that I learned how to do. I was trying to help people, but these surgeries, they weren't fixing the problem. They would help some people feel better. Some people would feel the same. Some people would be worse. A lot of people I saw in clinic, I had to tell them that, oh, surgery's not going to help you. And of course, they would be devastated because I was sort of their last hope. That all weighed really heavy because I thought I was going to relieve suffering. And I did relieve some suffering, but I saw so much more suffering that I couldn't relieve, even if I tried to do surgery. I'm going to change the battery. So a physician assistant that I worked with, he made a good analogy that the surgeries we were doing is like this. It's like you have a house and the roof, the top of your house has a leak somewhere, and rain water is coming down into the house and it's ruining the drywall, and you can see it. You can see water damage. The surgeries that I could do were like going into that house, tearing down that drywall, ripping out the moldy insulation, putting in brand new insulation, and rebuilding the wall, but not fixing the leak in the roof. That's what I was doing. And the way I realized that is that I could do a perfect surgery and some people would get better, some people would stay the same, some people would get worse, even though I did the exact same perfect surgery. And some people would get better before I could operate on them, even with gigantic bulging discs.
This is an important point right here, you guys, because he's talking about some people will get better before he did the surgery, even with big, gigantic, bulging discs. So one thing that people think is that if they have an MRI that shows something, that is causing their pain. And this is the place where I'd say we've been fooled. We have been fooled. And because an MRI does not tell you why you're having pain, although many times as physicians we'll go, oh, there it is. That bulging disc is what's causing your pain. And if I fix that bulging disc, I'm going to take away the pain, right? So this is exactly what he's talking about. You know, he was the guy as a neurosurgeon. So I know there's a need for neurosurgery. So I'm not saying that at all, but he has some important points to make about who got better, and especially who got better before he actually did surgery. So let's listen to what he says.
They would get better if I scheduled the surgery a month out. Sometimes they would call me a week before surgery and say, "Oh, hey doc, my nerve pain's gone. Do I still need to do surgery? Yeah, I got a big disc in there, a big bulging disc, right?" And that was very confusing to me. I learned some of that in residency, but actually being out there and practicing and seeing what happens to people, I realized that, well, wait a second, this isn't quite what I thought it was. I thought that if I do a perfect surgery, people are gonna get better. And it wasn't always the case. So over the 9 to 10 years that I was a neurosurgeon, it really bothered me. I felt that wait, there's something missing here. My surgeries they don't seem to be addressing what's causing people's health problems in their spine. I mean, they sort of do, but not in the way that I thought. Not in the way that I thought when I was training.
I think that many family doctors also get to, at least that's where I got to feeling like I was giving a lot of medications, but it was not turning around the root of the problem, right? We're really trying to cover symptoms with medications. So
over 9 years, I did everything I could try to figure out, how do people actually get better, and how do they get worse? And I had help along the way. I had a really good partner who was a pain management doc at my first job, and he really clued me into a lot of the things I'm going to explain here. But I just started asking patients like everything I could think of. What do you normally do? What's your job? What do you eat? What do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you do illicit drugs? Do you have a lot of friends? How's your family? Are you stressed out? Do you sleep well? I just would ask all my patients just kind of this whole bunch of questions about their life. And what I found was that patients that did certain things would get better, and patients who wouldn't do those things would get worse. My surgery might help them out a little bit, but they would get worse after that. And those.
So what he's saying, guys, just to reiterate, is that people who made certain choices and how they were living their lives could affect the pain level. Okay, well, this is really important and could sometimes help them avoid surgery.
Things that I saw were the following. It's people that got better, people that healed. They were doing the following, and not exactly, but in general. And this is my observation. They were having a diet. Well, diet seemed to be the most important. The food that people ate and the liquids.
That's why we start with the gut and functional medicine. The food is important. Food is a medication almost, or food is medicine, that is.
They drank. The ones that would heal up, they had a low salt diet. It wasn't really salty. And most of them ate mostly plant-based foods, like vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans. And this is not like a vegan rant or anything. I'm not vegan. I enjoy a steak or a sushi every once in a while. I'm just describing what I saw over 9 years of doing spine surgery.
Plant-based diets have a lot of research behind them. Guys, check out Michael Greger. He wrote a book called How Not to Die, which is pretty amazing. And he talks about the benefits of a plant-based diet. I'm also not on a vegan rant. I will say different people need different things. And it's more plant foods, I think, is good for most people. There are some of you carnivores out there who are like, I'm only going to do carnivore. But let's hear a little bit more about what he says helps. And then I'm going to tell you about some more things that can make a profound impact that are free things that make you better.
People that got better were having a mostly plant-based diet. They weren't eating too much animal foods, and they were definitely not eating salty, and they would do things that would make them sweat, like exercise, being outside, hiking like this, going to a sauna, or they live in a warm place.
I would also add, you don't want to get a lot of mosquito bites. I see all those mosquitoes on this video. I'm like, oh my gosh. Mosquitoes definitely can, bring things.
They didn't smoke. They didn't drink much. They usually had a good social support, like
friends are
loved
important.
Ones, family members,
friends,
children,
yes.
Friends.
Yay, friends.
Like a way to socialize. They would sleep. They would sleep like 8 hours every day, and they weren't stressed out. Or if they had a stressful job or something, they found a way to be mindful or meditate or just be present and release the stress back into the universe.
Stress release.
That's what I saw.
Sing it, brother.
And I saw that the people who did that, they would heal so quickly that I couldn't operate on them. I mean, sometimes I could, but if I was booked like 3 or 4 weeks out, a lot of times people they were doing that. They would heal before I could do the surgery that I thought would fix the problem. And the opposite was true. Patients that so they smoked like a chimney. They sat on the couch and they ate hot dogs all day. They had no friends. They were super stressed out, and they didn't sleep well. Yeah, those patients, like I could do a really good surgery. I would get them temporarily better, but 6 months, a year later, the same part of their back would have a recurrent problem, or a different joint in their back would have a similar problem. And I would operate on them, and they might get better for 6 months, and then the same thing would happen.
Okay, let's talk about that. And so, he went to MIT, he was a neurosurgeon, he ended up deciding he had to take basically he's on sabbatical right now, I think, in the mountains, in some beautiful place. And, different people leave conventional medicine or move into something else for lots of reasons. I feel like I keep a foot in both worlds, conventional medicine and integrative medicine, because, just as he describes, conventional medicine has some things it does really well that you want to be able to go to an emergency room if you've been in a car accident. But there's other things it does less well. And he talks in this video about how our system is set up uh, for for profit. It's set up for profit. Hospitals, they generate income from people doing procedures, and some procedures are very essential, and other procedures are not as beneficial to people. And if you are considering a procedure of some sort, it would be one idea to see if you could use the basics of what we call functional medicine. Really, it's preventive medicine, lifestyle medicine. Your family doctor is also encouraging these things as well. Functional medicine has a little more emphasis um, on root cause reversal, but we all are talking about how do we get you sleeping? So important. How do we help you de-stress? How do we get you eating foods that are better? And I like to take the long view here, right? So, you start off with infusing what you're eating with some healthier foods, right? Try and crowd out the foods that you know are not good for you. So there's some strategies. And down below, if your digestive health is suffering, take that good gut course. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about is is the idea of how
With a leaky roof problem.
how we can use meditation to promote what I would call your personal endogenous pharmacy. And now there is new breaking research just in the past couple of years that is coming from a very interesting cohort of people that is almost like a pharmaceutical trial, but using meditation. That is, in a pharmaceutical trial, the idea is they want to control as many variables as possible and just do the medicine, right? So look at people that are the same who are not taking the medicine or who are taking the medicine. And historically, the problem with trials of integrative interventions, such as meditation, has been that all the different varieties of meditation, how long are you meditating, right? All these things are different. So there's lots of variables with many integrative studies. But what if we had people who were being fed the same food, living in the same place, meditating the same amount of time exactly, and compared them to all people who were in the same place, uh, eating the same food, doing all the same things, but not meditating. So this is a way you can look at meditation as though it is as a intervention, almost as though it were a pharmaceutical intervention. And if you're checking, and if you wanted to do this, who doesn't want to do this? Right? This is such a great idea, right? Joe Dispenza and his team of researchers have done it. There's a link below um, to his site within the description of the video. But just one of the many findings. So basically, they took people from very large week-long meditation events, right, where he taught meditation through the week. So everyone is doing the same thing. And many of them will come with their spouses who are not taking the meditation. And they looked at things like EEGs, blood, the uh, electrical signature of the body, and various electrical signatures of the body, their heart rate variability, and then they followed them and looked at it at the end. Okay, so they had drew blood before and after, EEGs before and after, heart rate variability. They followed throughout all the meditations, I think. So he has like thousands of people that come to these events, and they're bringing their spouses. So he had a control group of people who were at the events. So they were, doing the same things. Because some people would say, oh, yeah, well, you did that meditation study while everybody was in Cancun. Well, everybody's going to be de-stressed and feel healthier in Cancun. So that's why you need to have the control group who's doing the same thing. So they looked at these folks, and one of the, I think, most profound findings that they've already brought out is this dramatic increase of a protease called, let me find this article. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen. Here, I'm going to take you to the research page here. We can look at this together because I think it's fascinating. And the fact is that what happens when you meditate is you change the stuff in your blood, right? You create substances that alter gene expressions. So here, if you go to the link below, this is the page, and you go to resources, proof. What we want is the proof, right? So this is scientific research, and here we are. And if you scroll down, you can see that there are published articles, scientific studies. When we go to the published articles, and we look through a breakthrough in scientific research, meditation's impact on immunity. So this will lead you to the paper, Meditation-Induced Bloodborne Factors as Adjuvant Treatment to COVID-19 Disease. So this is showing an increase in a protease. Let's take it down. I'll show you the Serpin A5. So that's, don't know how to annotate here. Oh, look, I can do it. I can do it. Color. Okay, so here it is. This is Serpin A. Oh, no, that didn't work. That's what it is. Serpin A5 that actually blocked for a virus grabbing onto the cells. And this, when they looked at blood, okay, let me go back here. Okay, when they looked at this Serpin A5 in people's blood, it was dramatically increased over those who had meditated versus those who had not meditated. So it's one of the first times where we see a well-controlled trial with that nice control group of meditation that clearly shows an effect. And now this group, this data set, they can look at a lot of different things. And as Joe Dispenza keeps doing his various meetings, he's going to continue to do this research. What I see in people is that to get from point A, sick, to well B, right? We want to go from point A, sick, to well B. There's a difference in energy, okay? And that seems obvious, but right? And just like there's lots of ways to get from point A to point B. You can take the squiggly, squirrely route to well, right? Which is a longer route, or you can go directly there, point A to point B. Energetically, and so when we're trying to get better, we try a lot of different things. Some of them may increase our energy or decrease our energy, increase energy. So we don't really know what is going to get us to that energy of wellness, right, from being sick. And because we are all different interventions will be more effective for one person than another. Right. So you might use red light and it might not work for you. I might use red light and it might really take me closer to getting to point B, right? So what it looks like to me when I see this research and I see the stories, there's a movie that Joe Dispenza has just put out called The Source, where he talks about the research. Highly recommend that you check out The Source. Is that that within the meditations, they are infusing energy into the system, right? You and I, we are We're 99%, 99.9%, nothing but energy, right? If you if we're composed of atoms, right? Let's go back to your science class. Don't you love it? We're really just composed of energy and a tiny, teeny, tiny bit of matter. And we perceive that we are a distinct structure from the space around us. But if we zoom in, we are not. We are an energy field. And if you think of us as the sum of the electrical charges moving in our bodies, right? Our heart creates an electrical field. Our brain creates an electrical field. And one thing they found in these meditations is that when you sync up these electrical fields, at least that was the hypothesis, is that when people had these big breakthroughs, because Joe Dispenza had what people might call a spontaneous healing after a severe bicycle accident where he crushed a bunch of vertebra and basically kind of put his body back through the mind. And he was kind of like, how did I do that? Right. So he started to study people who'd had spontaneous healings and tried to figure out what was it that they did, right? Um, so when he has people come to his workshops, there are times where on an EEG, he will see a sudden, like dramatic change in the energetics of the brain, almost like it looks like they're having a limbic seizure or something. Um, and so there's a huge amount of energy being released, and the person has this flood of nervous system activity, not just parasympathetic, but sympathetic too. So they feel it. They feel like they're going to explode is how they feel. And that comes with this gamma brainwave activity. And for some people, that has taken them from having symptomatic multiple sclerosis to having non-symptomatic multiple sclerosis, maybe healed from having signs of cancer on a radiological uh, examination to no signs of cancer on an X-ray, CT scan, MRI. Um, Very interesting and profound things that appear to happen when we engage our endogenous pharmacy, right? And, as I'm thinking about it mathematically, how do you get that fastest point A to point B? It is probably adding in some degree of energy, both potential and kinetic. This is kinetic energy that they are feeling, and maybe the potential energy is coming from what they are seeing, coming from their mind. So a combination of potential and kinetic energy, raising the whole system's energy, um, and creating this possibility of a healing happening, right? And one thing that Dr. Joe says is that uh, you need to keep living in that space of being healed in order to stay healed. So people who follow his strategy of meditation, and I also love it that um, uh, he is trying to link up more advanced sciences with what's happening physiologically when we meditate. And he really talks more about science. He takes an approach to meditation that is not religious. It's not just mindfulness. It's like using a tool. And I think one day it'll be able to be explained with math. And it seems like it's going that way, and probably will require us figuring out some of the questions of quantum physics that we haven't yet really, that we've sort of said, oh, quantum physics, the equations work, so we use the equations, right? But superposition and the problem of measurement and all of those questions, when we get closer to understanding those things, we're probably going to be able to link up science and math and spirituality and what's happening in these spontaneous healings that are happening. So the resources today for you below are: you need to heal your gut? Well, click that link below. You may need to copy and paste it, I don't know, and use the coupon code. And um, and I should get a message and I'll be able to add you and you can take that course. Um, and then check out Dr. Joe's work. He is a profound mover and shaker in the integrative world. And what really we all want to do is heal. And we want to understand how the integrative healing connects to conventional healing and how we can utilize the best of all of these worlds to feel better, to live our best lives. So I hope that you guys will be helped by that. And places that you can find me, for those of you who are thyroid people and you need thyroid help, and if you're in a state that I'm licensed in, you can find me at Paloma Health. That's where you can potentially see me if you're dealing with thyroid issues. If you just want to hear some more free stuff about how you can heal, next week I think I'll talk about complex medical illness and how we can begin healing from that. Um, I think this is meant to be a public service, and I just want to help you guys. You can also send me an email to clinic@feelgoodfunctionalmed.com if you have a question, or maybe if you have something you'd like me to make a video about. I'd be happy to entertain suggestions. All right, you guys. This recording is on my YouTube channel, Feel Good Functional Medicine. So if you're watching it on Feel Good Functional Medicine YouTube channel, subscribe so that you'll be notified when I do another. And I'm going to try and do these Friday morning around 9 o'clock. I don't want to stress about it so much that I have to show up at 9, you guys. So sometime around 9 or so. Um, and I look forward to seeing everybody next week. And have a beautiful weekend. I hope that your life is going well. And um, I just want to mention once again that if you want to change your life, whether it's how you're feeling, what you're manifesting, the abundance in your life, the like joy in your life, Dr. Joe's meditations really are extremely helpful. So, okay, have a great day.